Silhouette makes it easy to select objects for animated mattes with MaskML. Silhouette 2025.5 and above gives you another way to find multiple objects simultaneously with natural language prompting. I'm Ben Brownlee for Boris FX, and let's see the fastest way to automate matte creation. Okay, so we have our first shot here. It's a little dolly across a tower block and some swans. Excellent. All right, so let's come in. I'm going to go into the AI ML category, and I'm going to bring in just Matte Assist. And using the button at the top, I'll create up a MaskML node. Now, the reason I do it like this is because it will then connect everything exactly how I need it to. It will connect the data port and the image port. It will change my matte source to Cryptomatte and change my propagation mode to auto. Cryptomatte is an option found in Silhouette 2025.5 and above, and it gives us the ability to create mattes on multiple objects simultaneously, while keeping the option open for us to choose to break those into individual objects later. We'll see why this is important in a little bit. So if we come into MaskML, we have the normal controls over on the left-hand side where we can just select an object. It will have a little think while it loads the model in for the first time, and then it will select my object there. I can use the rectangle to draw a shape, and it will find the most interesting object within that shape. We also have the ability to add in a prompt. So if I type in something like buildings, I go detect objects, and it will then find all the buildings it can see in my shot and lay them out as different objects for us. Now, it's important we see that they're different objects because this is what's being passed through the Cryptomatte into the Matte Assist. If I didn't want buildings, if I wanted swans, let's set that object, and it will find several of the swans. I'm going to undo that because it didn't find all of the swans that I was interested in. So what I can do is I can come in and reduce my prompt threshold and detect again. And at that point, it's found pretty much all of my swans. Maybe I'll take it down a little bit more. There was one swan it wasn't finding. There we go. And that's it. So it's found all the swans that I wanted here. Anything where it doesn't have a name, so you can see in the list here, this is where it's not 100% sure that it's found an object that you want to find, or there's maybe a duplicate object. So you can just sort of go through and clean this up if you want to. And if we come to the Matte Assist now, come to the end, it will then process out all of those frames for us, so cache everything up for us. And it will give us all of our swans. And if I play this back, we've got a pretty decent one-click solution for finding all of our objects. Okay, so let's come into this one here. And here I can prompt it to find all the cars, detect the object. Thank you very much. Those are all the cars for me. But I can also get a little bit more granular and ask it to find all of the taxis. And at that point, you can get very specific about what it is you're trying to find. Now, of course, one of the main things we're going to be using this for is detecting people. So we can obviously find people.
There we go, lovely.
There we go, lovely. But we can also ask them to find joggers, or even maybe trying to find women. Now, this isn't always going to be 100% accurate, of course, which is why you have the prompt threshold down there and the ability to remove or add in things later. And of course, we can always come in and add in other objects ourselves if we need to, and they will pop up into the list. Now, inside the Matte Assist ML node, we have our mask source set to Cryptomatte. So if I pipe the Matte Assist data out into a Cryptomatte node, I now have those objects available to me as individual elements. So I can select any two objects. I can select, woman 2, woman 3, and those will come through as just those alpha channel selections there. Now, there is a technical limit if we're doing all of this through Cryptomatte. Let me show you what happens when we reach that limit. What I'll do, I'll come back to my swan shot, and I'll just keep prompting for swans a lot. This is a lot. Right, so if I come into Matte Assist now and try and play this forwards or play it backwards, what you'll see is it just won't be rendering anything out for us, except on those keyframes where we had the original Cryptomatte prompted. So if we want to see what's going on, if you just go up to Window, Console, you'll see that the maximum number of objects is 48, and we've got 57 objects coming through here. So if I delete 9 layers, 9 objects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, get rid of all of these, it will now have a little bit of a think, and it will take out all 48 of our objects. Yeah, if we don't need all the objects, we can just change this to input alpha, find whatever frame that we have created all of our objects on, and then just work our way through there. And that will just give us one baked down alpha channel. And all of this, from prompt, segment, propagate, and render, can be fully automated through scripting. So if you want to learn more about that, then check out the customization guide as part of the Silhouette help. And before I leave you, I'm just going to prompt one more thing here. It's worth also saying that we can use more sort of evaluative language here as well. So if I just say tallest person here and detect the object, it will have a little look and try and figure out who the tallest person is in our scene and detect that. So that's kind of fun. Or person wearing pink, something like that. So we don't always have to do just plain objects. We can be a little bit more descriptive about it. So that's a quick introduction into some of the things that we can now use prompting for with Mask ML. And of course, the Matte Assist ML with the Cryptomatte workflow is definitely going to speed things along. If you have any other questions, of course, leave them in the comments below. If you want to get any more details about anything you have seen here, then please let me know. And for a free trial of Silhouette, then head on over to borisfx.com.